Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar series, A Ripple of Thoughtful Words for Communication at End of Life in Long-Term Care. Today's webinar is the first in the series, and it will be about compassion and self-compassion. On the right-hand side of your screen, in the handouts box, you can find a PDF of the slides with a place to write notes, and there's also a PDF of a list of additional resources for communication at end of life. My name is Emily Farrell, and I am the project coordinator with the Ontario Centres for Learning, Research and Innovation in Long-Term Care, or CLRI, hosted at Briere. This webinar series was developed in partnership with Algonquin College and is brought to you by the Ontario CLRI. We at the Ontario CLRI are feeling a tug from long-term care homes, and we are tugging back. We are here to support you in these trying times, and we really hope that these webinars do just that, offer you support, comfort, calmness, and strength as we navigate COVID-19 together. I'd now like to pass you over to Ruth Richardson, who will be leading this webinar. Ruth is a hospice palliative care nurse educator at Algonquin College and is the instructor behind our Communication at End of Life program. It's over to you, Ruth.
Thanks, Emily. In that program that I've been working with CLRI for the last few years, I have a poster that says, "A conversation doesn't have to be long to be significant. A few thoughtful words can really help a lot." And with that in mind, I'm here to offer you a few thoughtful words, and it will not be long, but I hope it will be significant. And I certainly do not have all the answers. I'm just really here to be here in this difficult time and maybe offer you some support and some comfort. And so the answer gal is out. Ruth is in. I propose a path for these ripples of thoughtful words, and they're going to have 4 components to them. We're going to start with just a pause to kind of just gather ourselves and reflect. And then we're going to have a piece of awareness. Self-awareness is really important, being therapeutic in our work day. And so our awareness piece will be about looking at ourselves and our own thoughts and our own feelings with regards to the topic. And then we'll move right into the theme and the topic. And today, as Emily said, it's compassion and self-compassion. And I'll offer you a few thoughtful words about that. And then I'm going to offer some practical tips at the end of each ripple that maybe you can move into your practice while you're at work, and maybe take a practice that you can use at home too. So let's pause. In reading the story of Winnie the Pooh, Pooh's sitting on a little log and he's saying today was a really difficult day. And I'm sure we're all having a lot of difficult days. And in the book it says there was a pause. So I'm encouraging us to take a pause just for 1 minute out of your busy day to stop, take a breath, just observe some of the thoughts and feelings that you're having, a little time of self-awareness, and then be still and be mindful. We are going through really difficult times, and this is a time for us to remember people who are grieving, people who are struggling, people who are suffering, and to honor these people. I'm especially thinking of people in Nova Scotia right now, and all the people working in long-term care and living in long-term care. So with that in mind, I invite you to take 1 minute with me to collect your thoughts before we move forward. And I brought my big bowl today to sing for us. And I'm going to ring it and let you stop and take a breath and to listen to yourself, and then to have a pause, to take a moment of stillness. And when I ring it again, we'll come back and I'll move right into our topic of the day. Just take a few moments to notice your breath. To be mindful of your thoughts, your emotions. Just acknowledge them and allow your mind to quiet with each breath. Try to find that quiet spot in this moment For in this moment, there really is nothing to do but to sit and to breathe. And in the quiet of this moment, we hold up names and places of people and situations that are struggling. And we're sending our invisible strings of love to them. It might be people far away, it might be people right in your own environment. Take a few deep breaths. Allow that ripple to ripple out into your environment, into the country, into the world, because we're all in this together. So in the Communication at End of Life course, we talk a lot about empathy. And empathy really is just about recognizing other people's emotions and their perspective of the situation that they're feeling, and then articulating that and sharing that with them and being willing to enter into that. Compassion follows along suit with empathy. Compassion is to suffer with someone, not necessarily fix it or find an answer to solve this problem, but to be present with people and to recognizing that we're all in this together and that suffering and struggling is a part of the human experience. Self-compassion is to take that same experience and to offer it towards ourself and to turn that expression of kindness in towards ourself. And a lot of research has shown that people who actually practice self-compassion have less stress and are happier, and we become more resilient. And I guess that's what we really need right now in this difficult time. So Christine Neff put together a really interesting slide about how to do that. And it has 3 components. One is self-kindness, to offer the same type of kindness that you offer to a friend or to a resident, but to yourself. And to not be so harsh and not be so critical on yourself, but to say kind and thoughtful words to you on a daily basis. The second component is that we're all in this together, that all people suffer. And even though we're socially isolating ourselves and we feel separated and our residents from their families feel separated, we do share a common humanity. And the third component of self-compassion is being mindful, which means acknowledging and being aware of our thoughts and our feelings and just holding them for what they are. No more, no less, but to acknowledge them. Some tips for self-compassion are to try to quiet that inner voice to being not as critical and to be a little more positive in your inner voice, saying encouraging things to yourself and being more supportive and kind to yourself. There's lots of opportunities for us to also nourish ourselves. And I have a phone and I recharge it every night and enables me to do all kinds of things during the day. And we all need to recharge ourselves. And the list is endless. And I just encourage you to do something daily to be able to recharge your battery so that you can go back into the environment that is very stressful for you working in long-term care. The last piece for the next 5 minutes before I say goodbye is I want to offer you a compassion break. This is a really simple process, and it's when you're feeling really anxious or distressed or overwhelmed to just take a pause and to go through this very systematically. So I'm inviting you to join me as we do this together. So I'd like you just to sit back, listen to my voice, and enter into this experience. Maybe you might want to close your eyes and just to get it in touch with that part of you that is having a difficult time or a situation that is very stressful for you right now. And I just want you to kind of put that into your mind's eye. And I'm going to say a series of phrases that are designed to help you remember those 3 components of self-compassion when we need it the most. So take a deep breath, close your eyes. And the first phrase is, this is a moment of suffering. Finding some mindful awareness to the fact that suffering is present in your experience right now. And I invite you to find any language that speaks to you. It might be something like, this is really hard for me right now, or I'm really struggling right now, or I'm scared. Whatever language works for you. You are actually turning toward your acknowledgement of this difficulty right now, and you're naming it and naming it as a moment of suffering. The second phrase is, suffering is a part of life. We all suffer, reminding ourselves of our common humanity with each other. Suffering is a part of life. And to find some language that speaks to you, it might be something like, it's not abnormal to feel this way in this type of situation. Many people are going through similar suffering situations at different degrees, yes, and a different flavor, yes. But part of suffering for everyone is a part of being human, to suffer. And the first phrase is to bring apart that kindness for yourself. May I be kind to myself in this moment. And to support bringing kindness to yourself, I would invite you to take your hand and place it over your heart, or both your hands, or maybe put your hand on any other part of your body that is soothing and comforting. And just feel the warmth of your hands, feel your gentle touch, and those feelings of care that you often offer to a resident or to another, allow that touch to stream into your body through your fingers, and say, may I be kind to myself. You can choose language that supports this sense of kindness, perhaps language that you would use if you were talking to a friend or to a resident or a resident's family, that they're going through a similar situation. It might be something like, I'm here for you, or you're not alone, or I care about you, or I love you. Anything that feels natural to express this kindness and your desire to be well and to seek comfort. Take a few deep breaths, and letting go of this formal practice, just notice how your body is feeling right now in this moment. Allow any sensations that you have right now, just as they are, allowing yourself just to be as you are in this moment, in this short little compassion break. You might now want to decide to open your eyes, and on the screen I've written out how to do a compassion break. It's got those 3 steps that I went through with you, and the third step is asking yourself the question, what do I read right now to express kindness to myself? And we ask this all the time when we're working in long-term care in the midst of a difficult situation for our resident. What can I do for you right now? And we're asking the same question when we're looking at self-compassion inwardly. What is good for me right now? What would help me right now? And that's the work of Christine Neef. I appreciate her very much. And those are a few thoughtful words for me today to you. And I am feeling the tug. And every day, every Friday, I'll be back with another thoughtful word for you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. I know that I was definitely able to just take a second to breathe there, and I hope everyone else felt the same way.
Good.
So we do have an opportunity for anyone to ask any questions or share any thoughts that they'd like to share in the questions box right now. So I'll just hold on another minute or so and see if anyone has any questions.
Emily, I really want to applaud the people that have come on to take a few minutes out of their day. I know it's crazy stressful, and just to take a few moments to find a sense of peace to move forward, I think is really healthy. And I applaud the people who've actually come on today to Ripples to have just a few thoughtful words.
I agree. It's a very kind self-act for them to join for us today.
Absolutely.
We have a few comments coming in that say, thank you, Ruth. Your support is appreciated. This was so simple, so powerful. Thank you so much. This was lovely. Thank you for providing the opportunity. I feel refreshed. This is wonderful. Thank you. So I think we'll end it. Oh.
That's great. It's just a very short practice, and it's really needed, because I think that self-critical talk can really get you down. And we are so good at oozing compassion to others that I really encourage you to try to ooze compassion towards yourself. This is a difficult time.
It's a difficult time. All right, so we'll end it there today. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Our next webinar in the series will run next week at this time, so Friday, May 1st at 11 a.m. And Ruth, if you wouldn't mind just flipping to the next slide there.
Sure.
Thank you. So here are some ways that you can connect with us at the Ontario CLRI. And just a quick reminder that this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our website within a week. So you can come back and listen to it at any point if you just need a second to just sit and breathe through this. There's also a brief evaluation survey that will pop up when this webinar closes. Just a reminder that this survey is voluntary and anonymous. It'll take about 3 to 5 minutes, and questions can be skipped or the whole survey can be abandoned at any moment. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.